Hi. So, um, something I'd like to talk about that is currently really bothering me. Um, the concept of geniuses going mad or geniuses being mad. Um, I think I know why. And I know why because the implication here is not that I'm a genius. I guess the implication would be that I'm smart and I feel mad a lot. And I go mad a lot. And I heavily relate to these people because right now, let's just say we're in the information age. And our information base is so expanded. I would guess I've recently learned there have been 5 mass extinctions. So we'll just say for this last period of life, getting this far, since the previous knowledge base we really don't have, unless it might be in fossils or something really hidden. We have so much information. We know we're in the information age. Yet we are jumbling around like we're about to explode. Like all of us were like buzzing around like what's going on? What's going on? What's wrong? Something doesn't feel right. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Smile, nod, act like everything's fine. And there are reasons why everything's not fine are many, and they're all different and tailored to the person that you're talking to, because there are so many different aspects, so many different perspectives. I'm dealing with all kinds of things, and I can't handle it because something I've learned recently through one of the many courses and audiobooks I've been listening to recently is I have an expansive range and a great depth of emotion, and I didn't know that other people didn't experience life this way. Also, quote unquote, neuroticism is experiencing a lot of negative emotions. So I always said I cling to negativity. Not negativity, I cling to depth, I guess. And typically where there's depth, there's a lot of like sadness and anger, just like a lot of negative feelings often. Not always. With depth, there's intense happiness and joy and things. Both of these you're not culturally allowed to express. I've realized this, and this is called, like, I would call it like a depression and a mania, a manic depressive, a bipolar, people who fluctuate greatly and have a vast ability to feel. It's not comfortable because it's not allowed, and so the responses you get are devastating, to say the least. I'll just say right now I'm in a quote-unquote mania, and I'm just going to say for the record, I'm not associating anything negative to that word, because I don't think there's anything negative about an increased brain stimulation, heightened ability to think, search for good things, fun things, passionate things. The problem I find is where like the diagnostic criteria is where it's endangering yourself. Currently, would say I'm not engaging in any of that. So technically, maybe I'm not manic. Maybe mania, the word mania is strictly reserved for people who have sex so much they get AIDS and are so compulsive that they can't even keep their pants on, and they drive, and when they drive, they're driving all over the road, and they talk so much, and what they're saying, it doesn't make sense. And the more you listen, the more nervous they get, and they get real manic, and they're just crazy. It's almost like they're on meth. I have this really big feeling that that's a myth, and what I do find valid and plausible and probable and likely, and I'm leaning towards likely. I'm leaning towards probably, definitely, but to put that finite term on that is not something I want to do. So when you feel quote unquote manic, you feel happy, you feel energized, you have less need for sleep because you have more things you want to do, you have more things you want to say. You might drive erratically because you're happy and you're trying to contain it, and you're trying to methodically carry out life in feeling in a way you don't typically feel, or at least not extended very long. You might have sex a lot more because you feel and you want a connection for people and you don't know how. I'm just throwing this out there. You don't know how to be so happy and driven and excited. And people don't know how to handle someone like that. And mental health gets thrown around a lot. And it's all over the place. I mean, there's not any way to categorize or organize except for, you could say, governmental, which would be quote unquote official, which I would say is the least factual, unfortunately. I think sometimes they have good studies, and I would say more often than not, the studies are, yeah, I'm not going to go there. And then there's every kind of specialist trying to figure out what the government is lacking.